Our guest tonight is Ryback. How you doing?
I am great. I've had quite a busy day today, from having to get up early and work out to a teeth cleaning to driving across town, and just struck another deal with Feed Me More Nutrition at Pumped Up Fitness Solutions here in Las Vegas, so they are carrying the full line. So I got to go back and do another workout and eat a few more meals and do a whole bunch else for the rest of the day. So.
Well, the big guy is big time now. That's what's going on. That's awesome. Well, you know what? That takes me to my first question. You recently released your book, Wake Up, It's Feeding Time, a professional athlete's advice on how to succeed in the game of life, in paperback and on the Amazon Kindle. Can you explain why you felt now was the right time to release this book, and what are you trying to accomplish with its release?
So for me, I really wanted not just the wrestling fan base to know who Ryback Reeves is, who the real Ryback is. This was something I wanted to help people raise awareness to many different aspects of life, to help them set goals and start just being the best versions of themselves. And there's really never the perfect time for anything. It just happened to kind of all happen like this. It was while I was with the WWE. I don't want to say you have handcuffs on you, but you don't have the control that you have working for yourself. And I couldn't control the image that I was putting, that people saw of me at all times. They played a big part in that, and I didn't agree with a lot of that. And as you know, a lot of the wrestling fans and a lot of people, they kind of get caught up in thinking the movie is real, so to speak. So for me, this was a way to kind of know the movie's not real. This is the real Ryback, and I want to help people. And it all kind of just ties into my Feed Me More mindset and my brand. And for me, the book is never something that is, oh, I'm going to make millions of dollars writing this book. This book was a way for me to enjoy the process of actually writing it and reminding myself of a lot of things that I've learned and help other people. And it just kind of fits in with the overall Feed Me More brand overall.
Brandon Galvin, next question.
Well, do you have plans to work on another book? I know you've spoken about your experiences with WWE and wrestling on your podcast, but do you have interest in diving deeper into some of your experiences in the written form also?
Yeah, that's funny. I actually was just talking to Wade Barrett, or Stu Bennett, I should say, today, as he's one of my good friends, and he was asking me for some suggestions and advice on, he wants to write a book about his career and his life, and I was kind of just sharing what I had learned with the situation, and yes, I do. That's something I've taken a break from writing right now, just because of everything I got going on with Feed Me More Nutrition and the conversation with the Big Guy podcast and wrestling every weekend. So it's eventually, though, I'll start up again where I'll write for 20 to 30 minutes a day. Usually when I did it, I was doing it for an hour and a half a day. And I will do a book on my career and my life. But this was just my first motivational book, and where I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about a lot. And on my next ones, they will be a little more honed into certain things, rather than being as diverse as this one was. This was just kind of getting my feet wet and, being my first book. But there are plans to do many more.
Well, you mentioned how busy you were with your projects outside of wrestling. Since your departure from WWE, you have really grown the Ryback brand. Not only did you start a podcast, you wrote a book, but you are also still wrestling on the independent scene, and you have your own nutrition line. Now that you've accomplished so much in the time you've gotten away from WWE, what are your long-term goals inside and outside the wrestling ring now?
So right now, my number one goal is growing my Feed Me More Nutrition brand and my conversation with the Big Guy podcast. Every week we are growing by the thousands on the podcast, and every week I'm getting in more and more stores and more locations with Feed Me More Nutrition. Obviously, my goal is to become the number one supplement brand in that industry, and that's going to take a lot of hustle and a lot of hard work, but I created an all-natural product that I truly believe in, that I use my own products and created them for the last 12 years, and that I firmly believe, I should say, that a lot of my success is what I've invested into my body and doing it the correct way, and taking that knowledge into the supplement industry, which is a $50 to $70 billion a year industry, which is very corrupt and has a lot of negativity in it. I want to bring a positive mindset in it. I want to be a positive example to kids that they can look up to a guy with a physique like mine and know that you can achieve this without steroids and through proper supplementation and proper diet and the proper mindset. And then I've been on both sides of the fence and learned from my mistakes. My goal is to build the Feed Me More brand bigger than it's ever been. And that's not an easy task walking away from WWE, but I did not like the way that they were portraying my brand and limiting me from doing the things that I knew I could do outside of just wrestling. Creative aside, I didn't agree with any of the creative aspects, but I talked about that before on my podcast as far as with the ankle situation, and I gave you my opinion on all that I know is correct on why that worked out the way that it did. But to be told that you can't do magazine covers or to do movies or to do this or to do that and to start your own supplement line, to be restricted on what you can do outside of there was very discouraging for me. And I don't like being told I can't do something when I know that I can, and it is only enhancing not only my brand, but the company's brand as well. So that's when I knew I had to walk away and I have to build my brand on my own now. And what you're seeing is me being very diverse and putting my hands in a lot of different jars. But now I got to kind of really focus in on these 3 or 4 things and build them up as big as I could build them before I start branching out to other things again. So,
Mike Chiari, next question.
Well, you mentioned your podcast, and since leaving WWE, you said on your podcast, or you talked about a little bit, your dealings with Vince McMahon and maybe his penchant for lying or for breaking promises at times. How did those situations shape your outlook of the professional wrestling business as a whole and possibly contribute to some of the advice that you provided in your book?
So life isn't fair, and I've said Vince created that world, and it's his right to do what he wants to do at the end of the day. And that made it very easy for me to leave and to go ahead and create my own world and start from the bottom and work my way back up again. I don't agree with the way that he did things. And I tried many times to communicate and express myself. And when you're being told lies over and over again, eventually you just kind of check out. And it's a very discouraging and unsettling feeling. And I remember being at WrestleMania this last year, and the contract stuff was already at a very negative point. He left Gorilla. He couldn't even stay in Gorilla to watch my match. He walked by and just had a look of disgust on his face. And I just remember thinking, like, this company fucking sucks. Like, this job sucks, and this is the worst day of my life. And that was WrestleMania. And it was just, and I was like, it shouldn't be this way. And I think we sometimes have a vision as a kid of what we think things are going to be. And there's guys there that they may be more honest with, but from my experience, I am telling 100% the truth of everything that went on there and that I encountered there. And to be lied to time and time again when you were killing yourself and giving that brand everything you got to be your best and to give them and you just want to be treated fairly and with respect, and you're a staple for that company who they have relied on. It just isn't a good feeling, and it's very motivating for me because I've said before, Vince has motivated me to finding ways to work harder and to succeed more and to be the best version of myself. And I don't hate him. I don't hate Triple H, but it gave me that extra little kick in the ass even more to want to succeed even more now, to show him, I don't need you to be successful. And I want to set a precedent for these other guys where WWE tries to own and control your brand and where you can't make a living outside of them, and say, no, that's not right. I created my brand. I'm responsible for my brand. I can take my brand and do whatever I want to do with it. I don't need you to be successful in life. And that is what I'm doing. And I'm gonna blaze my own trail and show all these other guys that you don't need them like they want you to think you do to do other things in life.
Brandon Galvin?
Well, it was easy to see that WWE turning you heel when they did made little sense at the time. However, a lot of wrestlers say that being a heel is easier and more fun than playing the babyface. Do you agree with that? And is there anything specific that you would have redone if given the opportunity with either role as a heel or a babyface?
So I always took pride in just doing my job and what was asked of me, and I've spoken about all that before, so we don't need to break that all down again. But being a heel is a lot of fun, and I don't mind being a heel at all. And being a heel, though, absolutely sucks when you're not allowed to get heat or have a lot of TV time or to tell a story with the microphone. And in that regard, being a heel sucks up there. But when you're used correctly and allowed to get heat, wins and losses don't even matter. But when I say used correctly, allowed to get heat or get your heat back after moments of defeat, it can be a lot of fun. And it's different than being a good guy up there. It's two completely different mindsets. And I always enjoyed playing the heel role outside of that last go around. I was very adamant about not wanting to turn heel with the Kalisto match, and I was told it was lied over and over. Oh, you're going to be a tweener, where they had me going out there and mounting guys, and it started getting a really good reaction. Then they go, stop doing that, and then it was stop doing Feed Me More again, and it's just it was like the first time all over again, and I'd had enough, and it was time to go.
Well, as one of the top free agents in the wrestling industry right now, first question, have you received offers from other wrestling promotions, and how have you enjoyed being sought after by other companies?
Yeah, but it's one of those things that I don't care about being on TV. I have my brand, I have my name, I haven't been off of TV that long, and I am very profitable in my business already. Excuse me, where I don't need to go to TV just to be on TV, and I don't feel the need I need to be seen. I get to go out every week and work for myself and make a great living and wrestle and meet the fans and spend time with the fans and just kind of, I get to be home every day, minus with the shows that I go to once or twice a week. And it's such a great feeling after being on the road 5 days. And I don't want to go live in another country for 3 or 4 months at a time. I've set myself up to be able to have success from home and to be able to just go do wrestling because I love wrestling and not have to worry about anything. And when you got to remember, when you sign a contract, it doesn't matter what the company is for. Essentially, unless you get it put in the contract, you are giving up freedom to your character and who you are. And this day and age, so many people believe the movie is real that I want to have some sort of control of the image that I am portraying at different times, because it is owning a brand and trying to send out a positive message. It is detrimental when you have to go out there and do certain things like be a bully and do things that people perceive to be as real. It affects your brand. So, and we're kind of moving forward in this day and age where guys got to start looking out for themselves more, because not enough of them do and not enough of them stand up for themselves. I'm enjoying this. I don't care to sign with anybody because I love work. The ultimate, to me, it is the ultimate freedom in life to work for yourself. It should be every human being's goal to not have to answer to another human being on what you have to do for a job. And I get to live that right now. So why would I want to? Because it's TV. I don't care about being on TV. So once you take that equation out of it, it's a very easy decision.
Final round of question, Mike Chiari.
Well, one thing that fans often observe as it relates to WWE is that the company at times cares more about getting over the guys that they want to be over rather than maybe backing someone who gets over organically. And you talked about turning heel and being forced to drop the "Feed Me More" catchphrase. Why do you think WWE is seemingly so dead set against wrestlers becoming organically popular?
Vince McMahon does not care if he makes $300 million a year or $100 million a year. He's making money off the people. So he doesn't care. He would rather do what he wants to do. And that's, at the end of the day, that's the name of the game for him. So like I said, he created that world. Nobody has the right in his mind to tell him how he should run his business. And I respect that enough. I respected it enough where I said, fine, I'm leaving. So that sums that up in those few words.
Something that a lot of former WWE wrestlers talk about after they leave the company is the idea that it can be creatively stifling, especially when it comes to promos. What are your feelings regarding the promo process in WWE, the scripted nature, and how all of that might have impacted the message that you wanted to convey and the character that you wanted to portray?
So you have to understand, and I understand it from the WWE standpoint of they're a PG company and they have sponsors, and Vince they make a lot of money from their sponsors now. And we all loved the period where guys were able to kind of go out there and organically say what they wanted to say and maybe just be given bullet points. And throughout the course of wrestling, it has evolved into having all these writers and having Vince and Hunter and Stephanie approve everything, and where they want you to recite your lines line for line, essentially, or pretty close to it, not straying off of the topic. And I can tell you from experience, the process absolutely sucks from a wrestling standpoint and from a creative standpoint. It's just really, really difficult, and it comes across when you're watching at home. You can tell when a guy is saying something and he's just reading it off a piece of paper, but I understand it from a corporate standpoint of why they are doing it. I think they do it too much. I think there's a way to scale back on it and still keep your sponsors happy and still give guys a little bit more of a creative freedom to incorporate some of their character of who they really are, out there. Because that's how you find out what really gets over, and it's guys being themselves. And I always said all my best promos were the ones that I got to do on my own, and Vince would always get them. He would essentially get angry over that more than anything. Yeah, and his words with that is that I didn't make sense or that I was out of touch. And in my mind, that always just baffled me because it was the complete opposite. But he owns the company. He's allowed to think what he wants to think and say what he wants to say. So I respected him enough to go ahead and leave and just not play his game anymore.
Brandon Galvin, final question.
What has been the most rewarding experience for you so far during your career as a professional athlete?
Walking away from WWE. By far, it was the greatest day of my career that I had the courage, and it was I shouldn't say it was an easy decision, because it wasn't, because it was going on in my head for over 2 years, if not 3, of the point of finally leaving. But it was such a proud moment for me to know, walking away from the amount of money that I was walking away from, and being free. I equated to the Shawshank Redemption, that I was finally felt like I was released, but I did it on my own terms and my own conditions, and to be able now to have the relationship with different fans and communicate with them and still wrestle and have everything, and do it my way, it feels really, really good. And mark my words, I am going to be ultra successful, and I'm going to do things that nobody thought I could do, because I know what my game plan is and I know what I'm doing, and there's no longer anybody telling me no, and there's not another human being that works as hard as me from morning to night. So at the end of the day, the next 10 years, I cannot wait to see where Ryback is, because walking out of there was the best decision I ever made.
Well, a huge thank you to our guest tonight, Ryback. Check out his new book, Wake Up, It's Feeding Time, a professional athlete's advice on how to succeed in the game of life, in paperback and on the Amazon Kindle. Tell the fans where else they can support you.
Feed Me More Nutrition, available now at feedmemore.com. All natural sports supplements with no aspartame, no sucralose. Also, Conversation with the Big Guy, available on iTunes and Stitcher. Every Monday is a new episode. And I believe that is everything for right now.
Well, another huge thank you to Ryback. Good luck moving forward, sir.
Thank you guys for your time very much. Have a great day.